What statement can we state to let the folks know that we're not gonna disrespect them with that, because they do have a First Amendment right to speak. So whether the meeting ended in time, or, whether it was terminated legally or not, let's go with,
So, good point, and the First Amendment is brought up a lot, and I think it needs to be reminded, from what I've been told, is that by not allowing somebody to speak is in no way an infringement on their First Amendment rights, because speaking is to communicate to the council, and the public has many ways to communicate. They can email, they can phone call, they can meet us personally, and this is a considered closed meeting. There is no First Amendment right to speak at this meeting. That just doesn't exist. We've granted the opportunity.
No, I think we were told actually by Mr. Moore that, that they have a right to even insult us if they want to hear it. They have a right.
That's a different story. They can insult us if they want.
Could I jump in on this? Sorry. I do support what Councilmember Gase is saying. The fact of the matter is, if we allow public speak, we have to allow it all. But we have the right to not allow any public speech. So what he's saying is true. But once we open the floodgates, whatever goes at that microphone is perfectly 100% constitutionally protected.
Right. So because we did allow it, and it was being allowed, and it was disrespectfully addressed, how do we get back to the people and say, okay, we will no longer disrespect you? I mean, that's the issue here. So what solution can you think of that we can agree on so that we're addressing that disrespect? Because that's the issue.
And I believe that the route that Brad was taking in that direction is making some ground towards that.
Okay, so
I'm not sure it's.
I thought that was more on the terms of running the meeting, but go ahead.
Well, I think when I made the statement meeting before last, you asked me the question, is that an admonition? And I said the statement speaks for itself. I think people can't read that statement as an admonition, but I don't think that those of us that feel that Sherry was trying to cope with a disordered meeting was intentionally trying to disrespect people. I don't think that was her intention. I think she just reached a point where she didn't feel she could control the meeting, and we haven't trained ourselves well enough to say, take a recess. And that's really what the statement is saying. But if you want to view it as following the recommendation of the ethics board, I don't see why people can't accept that interpretation of that statement.
So if we can get a statement that addresses, like I said, this discussion that we're having, that she did not mean to disrespect people. I would probably absolutely back that statement up, but it happened. So how do we address that? How do we address that so that the public feels like that issue has been addressed?
My understanding of this is that, number one, we have to come to a consensus of an action. And the first part of that action, Councilmember Collins, is actually calling it an admonition. Otherwise, we have to be frank with your fellow council members and say that. To me, the first part in any action is going to be to agree to these four that are in front of us on I-11, or not call it an admonition and go from there and see if you've got votes. But let's come up with an action plan.
The language of the attachment 2.78.082 does say an admonition shall be a verbal statement. It doesn't define what a verbal statement is.
So do we want
That
to
in
say?
mind, I would suggest we could craft in.
Right.
Well, this is a matter of wordsmithing.
Right, and I think we need to do that tonight. So we can say something like this: council will respect the public and follow open public meetings. Would that work?
Well, I
Can
think
we
that,
get that moving forward?
I think that's a good start. I guess I would want us to know that, as I attempted earlier, my remarks, is that this is an opportunity, it seems to me, for us to set a standard. And, all of us, not just her, not just me, but all of us. And I think if I remember Sherry's comments earlier, she said she tried, and I think I told this, right? I think she said something to the effect of trying to do her best. Isn't that what we're all supposed to do?
Right.
So I think if I were to add any verbiage to your attempt here, is that I would have this statement, this quote unquote verbal statement, be a reminder to all of us and all of us at this time that we should try to do our best. And I think it should be reminded as standard that we should strive to.
So how's this?
So I don't think
Because I like
this has to
that.
be.
Right.
This has to, I want it to be constructive, I want it to be helpful, I want it and let us move on. That's where we need to do.
How about this? This council will respect the public and follow the open public meeting rule. We will do our best to be tolerant, patient, and respectful of all. Can we do this?
I can certainly support
Second.
All right. Can you guys support that?
I believe that, I think it might be helpful to add the words, follow Public Meetings Act protocol for adjourning meetings.
Public Meeting Act protocol
Protocols for adjourning meetings.
for adjourned.
Because I think we're focused on that specific thing.
Well, it's more than respect.
But no, I can support the rest of your statement.
So my question would be, since the 4 items, admonishment, reprimand, censure, and removal, are all considered punishments, is this statement going to be considered an official admonition, i.e. punishment? Because that reverts back to.
It doesn't have to be a
that
punishment,
procedural-
but it can be read to Sherry, saying, you know, what the decision we've done is, this is what we're gonna follow, and it will just be read to her, and it can be taken as punishment, criticism, it could be taken as praise, it could be taken as however anybody wants it, as long as it moves forward.
Because if we call it an admonition,
I would be specific about calling this an admonition in order to gain my support, if that's necessary.
You can say it.
My understanding of your statement, it was a statement to all of us on the council.
It could be.
Setting a new standard that we all are expected to follow. Well, and a more clear standard.
Yeah, and like I said, but it could be, like I said, it could be read to Sherry, so now we've got something orally to be read to her, and this is the statement.
As an admonition.
You know, just as a statement.
I think the statement's important, but I still revert back to saying to punish someone for doing what they were told was legal doesn't seem to make sense.
Again, that's different between legal and respectful. So we know that things got out of respect, even though it wasn't meant to be. So how do, let's say guys, we gotta move forward.
I'm not gonna support this unless, number one, we start with an action. Number two, then we're gonna define the action. And what's necessary to gain my support, I will go down to admonishment. I would love to have removal of office, but I can plainly see I don't have support for that. So I will compromise this evening, and I will support admonishment. If we can agree with that, then we'll agree on the wording.
Or you could say an admonishment in the form of the following statement. What did you ask it for?
So I have, this council will respect the public, follow the Open Public Meetings Act protocol for adjourning meetings, and we will do our best to be tolerant, patient, and respectful of all.
As an admonishment.
I just said that in the didn't. and that's
So we said
it.
Can we all agree with that? All right, so I
Have a
move
motion?
that this is what we say.
Have a motion? You make it.
Yes, I'm making the motion.
You have it for the record, as it was, if you want us to say.
You want me to read it again? This council will respect the public and follow the Open Public Meeting Act protocol for adjourning meetings, and we will do our best to be tolerant, patient, and respectful of all.
Second.
Motion been moved and seconded for the comments before the vote. Mr. Mayor.
We have $20,000 in outside legal representation tied up into this. No way I'll support this. $20,000. Folks out there can't keep their damn light bills on, and we dropped 20 grand for 40 words.
Yes, Mr. Gator.
Two comments. First, the $20,000 was not for this, this particular offense. It was for the joint, offense against the deputy mayor and myself that was brought by, a group's attorney. If they wouldn't have brought an attorney into it, we wouldn't be there, but that's in history. But, I agree with your statement 100%. I think makes a good message, and I think it communicates something very important. And I would like to see that made as a general statement to the public from the council to help them realize we want to move forward and want to do a better job.
I think we
I just
can,
don't want to call it punishment.
right, I think that can
No,
be done afterwards, but it does need to be read to Ms. Gibb.
So I'll say again, it should perhaps begin by saying, an admonition in the form of the following statement is the way I want to be read.
So there's a motion there, yes, that's the motion.
Excuse me, the motion is an admonishment in the form of the following statement, correct?
Yes.
Right? So,
You know,
and we've got a second, so.
Is that your understanding, Councilmember Collins, for your second?
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay, guys, we have got to make this.
Excuse me,
Well,
I
we
need
have,
you to know what, you withdrew your second because,
I don't believe we should add the word admonishment. I have no problem with the mayor, verbally giving a statement to, the deputy mayor. I think that's appropriate since she's not here.
so,
But
if this moves the football forward and I remove, and I don't include my opening few words, I'm perfectly willing to provide a statement. We need to get consent to read it. But if I remove the words and admonishment.
so a verbal statement.
Just read the statement as, I'm ready with that.
correct, I supported it the way Sissy
So
originally
a verbal
stated it.
statement,
And I would continue to second what Sissy originally said.
All right, and that's as it should be done.
all right.
Comment?
Yes.
I won't support it without the word admonishment in there. I think our state legislature has told us how to run a meeting. From everything I've read in the newspaper, there's been no remorse from our deputy mayor, which indicates to me that she's gonna do this again if possible. She hasn't given me any reason to think she's gonna go take some classes or actually open up a law book about how to run a correct meeting. By not acknowledging she's at fault here, that's what she's telling me. So for her to continue on as deputy mayor, we're opening ourselves up for an additional action like what's occurred before. So without the word admonishment or admonition included in this, I will not support it.
Mr. Gates, would you support this with the word admonition?
Without the word?
With the word admonition?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we have to move forward, guys. We have got to move forward, because we are gonna be a laughing stock, I'm not kidding you. So we are, so at this point, we have a motion on the table that says a statement of such and such. All right, so I guess we should take a vote on this.
Well, again, I'm gonna say this maybe for the third or fourth time. It says simply on page I-11, C1, an admonishment shall be a verbal statement. We have a verbal statement.
Right.
Correct?
Correct. We have a verbal statement. So, like I said, I think we can just go ahead and, you know, give it a go. I think we've got a verbal statement.
That's what it's asked us to do, is
Mhm.
provide a verbal statement, which I think we are close to doing that.
We've got one. Yeah.
And I think that's compliant with what the panel has asked us to do. And that acknowledges their, respects their, work and their recommendation to us. So, should we read the statement, verbal statement, quote unquote,
So,
one more time? so it's
a
clear.
verbal statement that will be read to Deputy Mayor Kidd is, this council will respect the public and follow the Open Public Meetings Act protocol for adjourning meetings, and we will do our best to be tolerant, patient, and respectful of all.
I withdraw my second.
It's a statement that was gonna be read to.
That was different than the statement we originally agreed on.
I think it-
Well, it's
That
exactly,
was-
so what changed, I'm sorry?
Can you read it to us,
I said-
the original statement?
I'm sorry, I didn't pick up on any change. I have a verbal statement that will be read to Deputy Mayor Kidd, that this council will respect the public and follow the Open Public Meetings Act protocol for adjourning meetings, and we will do our best to be tolerant, patient, and respectful of all.
Well, my recollection is that, it was a verbal statement that this council will do all of this. It didn't
That this
include.
council will respect.
Yes, I don't remember the words to be
To
read to, Deputy Mayor Kidd. I suggested that the mayor, provide that statement to the deputy mayor since she's not here. And so that would mean that the mayor would provide that statement to her.
So, as a compromise, could you live with it being read to Deputy Mayor Kidd? Because it's just a statement, and it needs to be read to her and it's not an admonishment, so could you live with a statement that says it'll be read to her?
I believe that we need to read that statement to all of us.
I agree,
And we are reading that statement to all of us right here.
yes, so
I
it
don't
can be
think
read to
that-
her.
Okay, I think that adding that is not correct.
It's not punishment, we're just reading it to her, we're not saying we're punishing her at all.
Okay, you read it however you want. I'm just reading it the way I want, okay? So, I'll withdraw my second again, I'm sorry.